Violence as if it's just a little local excess, when in 1 week, in March 2006, 500 people were killed in sectarian violence in Iraq. And you dismiss this as just a small bunch of extremists, nothing to get too worried about, doesn't dent your religion at all. It's hardly a recommendation for it, is it?
We have 1.5 billion Muslims around the world. What does the number of the extremists form next to this a huge number? We know that
because it captures the headlines and it captures the public's imagination and the public's fear in the West. And you think people have just looked at these headlines indifferently?
No, I believe that the media also in the West helps for promoting negative images about Islam. There is no doubt about that.
Imam Qazwini, it's not just the media. In 2006, which saw some of the worst sectarian violence, your own Council on American Islamic Relations reported a massive 25% increase in cases of anti-Muslim bias.
Well,
that's hardly a coincidence, is it? When people have been watching the violence on television night after night.
Hate crimes are not confined against Muslims only.
I know that, but look at the increase that year.
The Jews, the black, the Latinos, they all had their own problems with the big society in the United States. And Muslims are no exception.
Imam Qazwini, a 25% increase in 1 year. Last year, the Chicago branch of the same council cited a whopping 391 new civil rights complaints by Muslims that year. It's going up dramatically, and you say that you want this audience to believe that the reputation of Islam as a religion of peace has not at all been damaged by what people have been seeing.
Absolutely, absolutely. We should differentiate between what people say and what the media trying to promote.
But these are facts. These are released by your council, Council on American Islamic Relations.
These are facts, but these numbers do not say that these statistics are a result of the Shia-Sunni conflict.
And you don't think that's a contributing factor?
Not truly.
Not in the slightest?
Not truly.
You can guarantee that to this audience?
We live now in the United States in post-9/11 era. That it feeds the mind of many American people with negative images about Islam, and probably that's part of it. It doesn't necessarily reflect the Shia-Sunni conflict.
Imam Qazwini, thank you very much indeed. Now let me please ask General Ali Shukri to speak for the motion.
Thank you. At the moment, we have seen for the first time in Iraq continuous conflicts and violence between the greatest sections of Islam, the Sunnis and the Shias. What is happening is a continuous escalation, an escalation that is threatening to spill over within the neighboring countries. People are looking from within the region and from outside the region. Is this good for the region? Is this good for the majority of the Muslims in the world? I look at it as it is definitely a very bad image that we are projecting as far as Islam is concerned. There is no clause in the history of Islam where a Muslim is allowed to kill a Muslim. This is not good. People are looking at us from the outside. The extremists of the Western world are looking at us, and they're happy to see this happening. In fact, some of these extremists in the West are encouraging the continuous violence that is happening between Sunnis and Shias. At the end of the day, the sooner this is put to an end, the sooner that we can tell the world that Islam is a religion of peace, a religion of accepting the other, a religion that is called Islam. Islam is from peace. We have to prove to the world that this is how we are. Otherwise, the onslaught on Islam, especially after what happened in 9/11, will only be exasperated, and with the extreme societies, with the extreme organization in the rest of the world or in the Western world, who are hoping that this will continue, that this will get worse, so that at the end of the day, there are two losers, the Sunnis and the Shias.
General Shukri, thank you very much indeed. If, as you say, Islam has projected such a bad image, just to take up the point that Imam Qazwini made, why is it still the fastest growing religion in the world? And why are there reports in countries like Syria and Turkey and Egypt that the societies are becoming more religious and turning more to Islam? They're not turning away from it. If the reputation is so bad, why is that happening?
Well, the outlook on Islam itself is being affected. We are being targeted. The Islamic countries are being targeted by the Western world, by the extremist organizations within the Western world.
And yet Muslims in most Muslim countries see themselves as Muslims first and citizens of their countries second.
Well,
they're proud of their religion. They're not turning away from it. They don't believe it's been dented. In fact, they're turning in greater numbers towards it to fill a political vacuum, aren't they?
Well, the most important thing is the attitude of the rest of the world towards Islam today. What we are seeing is an onslaught on Islam, especially after 9/11. This is very important. We've got to remember that. Now, immediately after 9/11, we get into the problems of the Iraq and Pakistan and the Lebanon.
But where is this onslaught? What onslaught are we seeing?
Well, it's a psychological and media onslaught on Islam.
Imam Qazwini doesn't see any onslaught at all. He says he's not seeing any difference at all. His congregations are still holding up. He's being invited here, there and everywhere.
I beg to differ with Imam Qazwini, but when you see the realities of things, when you look at the attitudes of people, it is really dangerous. It's worrying.
General Shukri, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you, sir.
Could I ask, please, Hisham Helia to speak against the motion?
Thank you, Tim. It's an honor to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I reject this motion for two reasons. It is clear to me as an academic that while Sunnis and Shias have their differences, for over 1,000 years they accepted each other as Muslims. They renewed this with the Amman Declaration in 2005, which I hold here, with hundreds of scholars signing up to it from around the Muslim world, but barely anyone in the media seemed to pay attention. I've worked for years as a professional policy advisor, meeting thousands of people around the world, advising communities and governments on Muslim world affairs. Believe me, if this were causing damage to the image of Islam, I would have come across it by now. I would see it. On the contrary, I see Sunni Shia dialogue increasing across the Muslim world and Muslim West dialogue increasing across the world. Is the image of Islam damaged by that, or is it improved? It's improved, surely. Ladies and gentlemen, no one here disagrees that the media represents Islam poorly. But is the media image of Islam actually the image of Islam, or is it exaggerated? And even that media image, even if it is true, is that due to the Sunni Shia conflict, or is that due to other factors? No one's been able to show that. People have been able to show that there's a wider perception that Islam is violent, but nobody has been able to show at any point in any poll that this is due to Sunni Shia violence. This is about violence in general. 9/11, 7/7, the Madrid bombings. The West for hundreds of years has been critical of Islam in books, in their media. That had nothing to do with the Sunni Shia divide. Ladies and gentlemen, send a message to extremists everywhere tonight. We're not stupid. We will not be fooled. We will not be used. The image of extremists is damaged, not the image of Islam. Thank you.
Dr. Hisham Helia, thank you very much indeed. You say that the press pays no attention to the fact that Sunni and Shia have been having good relations for 1400 years, that they are talking and jointly condemning violence. Why do you think the public is paying no attention to this?
What I'm trying to point out is that there are so many things happening on the ground that the image among the people on the ground is actually very good, and that the media often forgets about that and focuses on well, even in Iraq, Tim, even in Iraq, you still have declarations and demonstrations every day.
And you have congregations being blown up in mosques, don't you?
You have congregations being blown up in mosques, and because of that taking place, because of the violence that is taking place, overwhelming majorities around the world, including within Iraq, are still saying, we will not accept this. This does not happen in our name. We will never allow it to speak for us, nor our religion, nor our relations with the other side.
Some people are saying